brought to you by Extreme Teas. Click on the link below. Make sure you put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get a 20% discount.
Now, not everybody is interested in precious metals and IRAs and 401k rollovers. Some people are happily putting their whole life savings on the stock market. Some people are launching themselves into property investments. And some like the idea of cryptos and leverage investments. All that what looks like the top of the market. And what could possibly go wrong with that? I mean, with supply chain issues, inflation on the way, and unemployment climbing, it isn't at all a bit risky. No, not at all. Hey, and don't even get us started on that $25 trillion of debt. Now, if you've been thinking about investing safer so that you can retire comfortably and sleep at night, it might be time to talk to Noble Gold about the tax advantages and other pluses of those precious metal IRAs. Now, of course, you might just love uncertainty, but if you don't, this month, Noble Gold are giving away a free American, the beautiful, solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying IRA you start. And all you got to do is call us at 877-646-5347 or visit our website at noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, let's get to this video.
What's happening in America? Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make sense out of nonsense. And we back dealing with that race baiting bunch. Yeah, man. So part one, we talked about all of the regular black folks that were losing their mind after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict, and how, you know, they were screaming up at the sky and talking about how we ain't gonna be victims no more and all of this stuff, and white folks ain't gonna be policing us. So where'd all this anger come from? Where'd all of this animus come from, and running around being mad for nothing and feeling like, you know, as black folks, whenever things don't go your way, whenever there is something that takes place, you have to question, what made me get mad over this? What made me react the way I did? Who is controlling my emotions? How did I come to this information and this conclusion? Did I come to it on my own, or did I get guided towards it? And then I think that I arrived at my own conclusion, but really someone else kind of guided me there. Kind of like a rat in a maze who thinks that they are making their own choices to get to the cheese. And really, there's lab people standing there with coats on, and they're going, okay, now block door 3, make them go this way and that way. And then the rat gets to the cheese, and they're celebrating like, yeah, look at me, I worked hard to get to this cheese. Not realizing that there's a whole group of people up there making sure that rat gets right to the door they wanted to get to. So when it comes down to these things like, you know, even Jacob Blake getting shot, the initial information is what drove a lot of these black folks to become mad. And that information came from who? You always got to check your source. Did it come from reliable sources to show you that it was balanced? Did they come out and say, hey, look, this is why this dude got shot? Because apparently his girlfriend called the police on him for doing A, B, C, and D. They show up, this man gets into a scrap. Then he pulls a knife. They tell him put the knife down. They tased him, all of that. And then he goes to get in the car, reaching in, and he got shot. No. In fact, I was even hearing things like, oh, he was there to break up a fight, and the cops just rolled up on the scene and just start shooting him. I heard so many rumors about that. But they expect black folks to jump and ask questions later. Get mad first. Tear up stuff. Now, to me, that is degrading to black people. So this video is for all those black folks that aren't conservative per se, and they're not thinking like this rationally. They're not seeing the puppet master pulling the strings. They're just sitting back going, what? Another black man shot by a white man? Let's go tear stuff up. That reminds me of an attack dog. You don't want to find yourself being an attack dog because you're a human being. See, you don't want to be that person that the news and politicians are going, all we got to do is say sick 'em. Because soon as we say sick 'em or racism, they just run in and attack. They don't have no logic, no reason. They're trained to respond soon as we say racism instead of sick 'em, racism. And they run in, not realizing that, man, I got somebody else controlling me, got me on a leash. And that is why I'm here to expose this mess. So guys, that last video, we saw a whole bunch of black folks mad, running around talking, we ain't gonna take it no more, this is an atrocity, and all of that. As they thought that black folks were killed, not white folks. They didn't have all the details of the case, none of that stuff. So this is why they were mad. We're going to start off with a black conservative lady that I'm sure a lot of black liberals don't like, because they've told them that Candace Owens is a sellout. She's a black Nazi or something like that, or whatever, Merjigger. So let's see, maybe she could shed some light on why they responded the way they did when they heard about this case.
Well, I will say that I think because this case went on for a few days, actually, the truth kind of got out of bed. Like, the lie made its way around the world. When this case first started, you were sensing this ferociousness online, and people were definitely like, he better be, because they were under the delusion that he had killed 2 black people. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. I mean, the amount of times that I issued a tweet defending Kyle Rittenhouse, and I had black people writing back to me saying that, of course, you would pick his side. You're a race traitor. What? And I actually wrote back to him going, they actually thought that 2 black people were killed. I mean, that is how big and how wide this media delusion was. And they were shocked to discover that, no, in fact, we're talking about 2 white people that were killed and 2 white people that have records, right? A convicted pedophile, a convicted domestic abuser, another, the second guy who was arrested for false imprisonment of another individual. So
these weren't good guys, right? But black folks jumped out there anyway. I don't care. I don't need the details. You just tell me that racism took place and I'm all over it. I'm all over it. Do you know how dumb you look to even get online and start talking about this stuff and then find out that those were white folks? The worst thing you can do is be misinformed, but yet an activist. A misinformed activist always gets set up for the okie doke. Now, where does this come from? Why are these folks misinformed? Well, we're about to find out, starting with this bum right here.
I have questions about the verdict, and the verdict really speaks for itself.
Oh, it does.
As many of you know, I've spent a majority of my career working to make the criminal justice system more equitable, and clearly there's a lot more work to do.
See, there it is. You want to know the source of all of this? Folks like her. She's a politician for nothing. She knows about emotions. She knows what pushes people's buttons. She knows how to manipulate them. That's why she got on the one show pandering towards black people, so she can, pretend and be down with the struggle and understand black folks and all of that stuff. Always bringing up racism, all of that stuff. But yet she's privileged. Yet she was one of the main contributors in California to manipulating evidence that hurt black folks, making sure they got dramatic sentences over weed charges. This woman, she was doing all of that. But yeah, she's talking about equity and all of that stuff. Why? Because it's politically convenient right now to keep black folks mad for nothing and pretending like she's been down with the struggle the whole time and can't give you nothing in her record that would make you think this woman has helped the black community or race relations or unity between the police and some type of none of that. All negative. So now we're finding out some of the sources of the ignorance, starting with this chick and many others like her. Let's continue.
This is a double murder trial.
Oh, she's
what
on TV.
What are we talking about?
Double murder trial.
We have a lot of work to do. If you imagine for a moment if that were a young black man. First of all, he probably would have come out in in his orange suit, because he would have been coming from the jail cell.
Imagine if Kyle Rittenhouse was an 18 or 17-year-old black kid.
Well, that's a different issue. What
with a gun?
That? Talk about that.
Right. How would people feel? How would the judge treat him?
Speculation. I'm just wondering. See, when you put people on TV who says these things, and it would appear as if they didn't even watch the trial at all. They don't know any of the details, because see, to say that, first of all, blows my mind. Because when you watch the trial, you have to conclude. You'd have to be an idiot on a jury to go, well, none of that evidence means nothing. Obviously, Kyle did this because he's a white nationalist and wanted to come and kill folks. You would have to be an idiot to come to that conclusion. It had nothing to do with white, black, or nothing. It has something to do with the overwhelming evidence. And yet they're trying to make it appear to be a black-white issue by drumming up this imagination. Notice they're not talking about the evidence. They're just talking about creativity, emotional stuff. Imagine, even though it's not reality, but I want you to go with me. Imagine if it was a black person. Now, they're also not going to tell you how many black folks have been getting off, especially in this new climate.
But you would think that this is 1920, where they were just convicting black folks for stuff that, look, I was in Florida when it happened. So what, boy? You're still the one that we're going to put in jail for this. See, no, that's not what's happening. I'm seeing black folks running around, tearing stuff up, doing stuff and getting off. I'm seeing Jacob Blake still doing interviews and stuff. We saw it in my last video. He's up there doing interviews and talking about social justice and stuff after, sexually assaulting his girlfriend and all of that, resisting arrest. I'm seeing all of this stuff take place. And yet here they are talking about, imagine if that person was black. Well, that is very small compared to the race-baiting bunch we're about to hear from right now. Get ready.
We begin the readout tonight with yet another judicial gut punch. 18-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, a militiaman wannabe who crossed state lines and killed 2 human beings at a Black Lives Matter rally.
So, y'all see the milk dud head? Y'all see this dude right here? See, these are the folks right here that pretend to act like they're holding it down for the black community and they're looking out for social justice and racial equality and all of that. These are the same folks, this all black group of folks you're about to see get put together. I call them the race baiting bunch. How do you think they got on that network? Why do you think strategically all of these folks just happen to be black on this panel ended up here all together? What do they all have in common? Oh, they're all willing to prostitute themselves to push a race narrative, right? They're all working for a white company, though. Now, if this company was a white company that did not have an agenda, did not see the outcome, did not see the goal and objective for allowing these so-called angry black folks who are spewing out all of this stuff about racism and white folks, if these white folks who own these networks wasn't in on this, do you think they would allow them to use their platform to come out here and demonize white folks? Talk about white folks and how they're all racist and there's a source of all racism. If they really thought that these black folks believed all of this garbage, they would say, we don't want them working for us. You notice they're not going to hire Louis Farrakhan and put him on there. They're not going to get the black Muslims and bring them out there and give them a platform. No. They go and get these black liberals and they elevate them to this level to do what, though? To do what? Any thoughts? Okay. Control the minds of all the black folks who are thinking emotionally. They put these faces out there so you can identify with them and say, well, they're black, so they must have our best interests, as they work for white networks that are tolerating all of this anger and racism against white folks coming out of them. So think about that for a second.
Was found not guilty on all 5 counts.
Head, y'all.
President Biden told reporters that we have to respect the jury's decision. While it is shocking that Rittenhouse was not found guilty, it's not surprising at all. In fact, it's a return to normal for America.
No. See, you see that? You see what they're paying this milk dud to do? It's not shocking that he was found. Are you kidding me? I'm amazed. Considering your whole network, CNN, big tech, all the Democrat Party, all were trying to make this dude guilty. Doing every single thing you could do to make folks get mad and think that this dude is a white nationalist, came there just to kill folks for no reason. Everything y'all could do to make it appear that these were mostly peaceful protests, as fire and smoke and all of that stuff, the video footage we see. And here he is talking about it. I'm not shocked. Are you kidding me? That's why it was a nail biter. It wouldn't have even been close if it wasn't for you guys. Because the case is cut and clear. The man was defending his own life. But yet here he is still trying to cast doubt on that whole verdict and take advantage of all of the mad black folks and others who did not watch the evidence that was presented during the trial. Let's continue.
Joy Reid, the host of this show, Reverend Al Sharpton, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, and president of the National Action Network, Paul Butler, former federal prosecutor and Georgetown law professor, and Ellie Mistal, justice correspondent for The Nation, join us now. I cannot imagine a better panel of people that I would rather be talking to.
Of course you can't, see, because, these are the professional race baiters. These are the elitist race baiters, okay? These folks right here are the gurus of race baiting. These folks right here are the face of the white liberal establishment that want to keep everybody divided and have everybody seeing only white
folks that are not down with their goals and objectives as racist. Notice these angry black folks don't say Joe Biden's a racist. Notice they don't say things like Nancy Pelosi's a white nationalist. Notice they exclude all of these prominent liberals and Democrats and the owners of these networks and direct all of this animus and anger towards either conservative white folks or regular white citizens that just don't buy into all of their garbage and is looking at things rationally. Anybody that's white that's not okay with their agenda becomes instantly a white nationalist. Okay, but they spare all of the white liberals from all of these accusations. Ironically, let's continue. Because, see, he's talking about, I couldn't find a better crew. I mean, this is great. We got all these race baiters here. This is the dream team of race baiting.
Or texting with tonight.
I was not at all surprised. We've talked about this. I mean, this is what we expected to happen.
No, it's not.
Because I think we have to keep in mind when we're watching the criminal justice system at work that it was designed to do exactly what it did today. Gun laws helped to enhance the design to allow this verdict to happen today.
How? See, once again, this is what I mean. Using other black folks to control the minds of emotional, misinformed other black folks and white liberals. So she said gun laws have allowed this to happen. Well, didn't the guy that tried to kill Kyle have a gun? And he's not even on trial. They dropped his charges, I guess. So I'm thinking, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Nobody's saying that black folks can't carry guns. That she's trying to imply this, gun laws. Well, guess what? The gun laws apply to all Americans. I got a ton of guns here, Joy Reid, just in case you're wondering. No one say, hey, black guy, you can't have all the guns you want. Only white folks can. But see, Joy Reid is trying to make it seem like the gun laws are strictly for, white folks. So they can go out on killing sprees. And maybe she didn't realize that it was the party that she votes for are the ones that wanted to make sure black folks did not have guns. But here she is talking about these gun laws. If it was up to her party, they would take away all the rights from blacks and whites to carry guns. And they would put them all in the hands of the Democrats and the government so they can do what they really want to do, which is implement complete tyranny and control. And here her dumb tail is helping them fulfill that agenda.
This country was built on the idea that white men had a particular kind of freedom and a particular kind of citizenship that only they have. That gives, from the slave catchers on, the right to inflict violence in the name of protecting property. That's like the foundational creation of the United States. So, what I am concerned about is the precedent this sets for what people will believe that they can do under law.
So basically, I'll translate this race baiter for you and reveal her real motive. Hey, Joy, I need you to go out there, and now we're going to switch topics and go after gun control. Okay, so I want you to focus heavily on that. And then try to tie it into some type of history of black folks and slave owners and stuff that all these Democrats own, them slaves. Try to tie that in. And then I want you to conclude by now saying, based on this trial and the outcome of it, we're afraid that now all these white conservatives that own the majority of guns in America and believe highly in the Second Amendment are going to take this case and use it to go out and commit acts of violence against black folks that are minding their business. Black folks that are just chilling in their neighborhood. And white folks, white conservatives, though, make sure you stress that, okay? These, Trump supporters and stuff. They're going to go into these neighborhoods and just say, we're here to police you and we can kill you and stuff based off of the Kyle Rittenhouse, outcome. That's what we want you to do, Joy. Okay, because, see, we want to go ahead and get it all set up to push legislation for more gun control and restrictions. And she's going out and earning every dime of that paycheck coming from the white man, y'all. The white man.
When Black Lives Matter protests happen in the future, and that people may use this as an excuse to start going out of state and doing what this teenager did.
Y'all hear that? See, going out of state and doing what this teenager did. So, in other words, y'all, we don't want folks that have the right to carry going into other states with their guns. Basically, what if Kyle wasn't going into the other state, be in that area, making sure that things weren't being tore up? What if he was just a person that's just crossing the state lines like I do all the time when I carry? So that right here opens up the door, and that's why they keep stressing. Yeah, state lines, crossing state lines. So you have a right to do that. So what y'all trying to do is make it to the point where it's difficult for the Second Amendment to be transferable state to state to state. That's what y'all trying to do. Y'all trying to find other ways and put these narratives that have nothing to do with anything into this story so that y'all can say this right here is a springboard to go after more gun restrictions. You're not fooling me, Joy Reid, and put some makeup on, darn it. I know you're at home, but let's get some better lighting. All of that money you getting to prostitute yourself and you can't get no better lighting? You look like a nice lady. Let's continue with this garbage.
Believing that they'll get away with it, and in some cases, getting away with it.
Oh, God.
The first thing that occurred to me after this ruling is, oh, well, okay, now it's just open season.
Oh.
Like, if I'm walking around and I'm a white nationalist, cowardly little kid with an AR-15, and I see somebody drive by with a Black Lives Matter bumper sticker and I feel threatened, I can open fire.
This is race baiting at its finest, y'all. So Milk Dud Head here decides to just come up with something that is so irrational and illogical that I'm amazed that he said it with a straight face. Now, understand, if this network that's paying him to race bait wasn't doing that, and they sat back watching and trying to protect their brand and their product, and they heard him say that on TV, do you know how quick they would pull the plug? But instead, they're sitting there going, yes, 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 great, that made sense. Not to us, but it's going to make sense to the dumb black folks who sat back and listened to this dude say that. So I'm riding around now as a white law-abiding citizen. I see a Black Lives Matter poster sticker on somebody's car. That's scary to me. So instead of ride away and go on about my business and go away from the scary Black Lives Matter sticker right there, I decide I'm going to get out my car and open fire on this black person right here because they got a Black Lives Matter sticker on their car. Because who knows? Who knows what they're up to? That's what I'm going to do. Just like Kyle ran away from trouble, and those folks that claim they were there for the Black Lives Matter rally, they're the ones that made that man feel threatened by chasing him and threatening to kill him. And he responded to that. So now why then would any rational human being just see someone minding their business, got Black Lives Matter sticker right there, and they decide, I'm going to get out my car and confront that, even though I'm scared. But I'm going to get out and confront them with my AR-15. None of that makes sense. He knows it. But he also knows that there are a lot of black folks and others that are emotional and completely misinformed and will say, well, yeah, that could happen. See? The race baiting bunch.
Reactionary white men who want to take the law in their own hands, who want to bring assault weapons to Black Lives Matter's protests.
Reactionary white men who want to admit. Now, reactionary to what? I mean, if that was reversed, and let's just say I was in that same scenario, and all of those folks who attacked Kyle were black, I would have done the same thing that Kyle did. Not as just an impulsive, reactionary person with a hot trigger finger. That man waited to the very last moment to use that weapon in every one of those applications. That's not reactionary and impulsively. No, if it's reactionary for a purpose. He's saving his own life. He's running from folks trying to hurt him. And yet here he is trying to make it seem, of course, white men. See, not just men. See, because remember, only white men can have the honor of the Second Amendment and protecting their property. Only white men can do that. So apparently, he's saying that white men can just impulsively go there and say, you know what? Even though that man's standing his ground and he's over there doing whatever, I am going to impulsively just go ahead and open fire on him. He ain't done nothing to me. He ain't walk up to me and none of that. When's the last time that happened? Huh? I mean, it's amazing to me how they will throw this stuff out there with the assumption that people would not run that across their common sense first. But see, they're used to getting away with this. And that's why you got black folks on my last video screaming up at the sky and swearing up and down that Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 black men. That's why they do this. Let's listen to this one. He's a guru of the race. He's an OG of race baiting right here.
America is tonight. It is startling, not surprising, but startling, and it brings a real threat to those white and black that want to stand up against systemic racism in this country.
So y'all hear skinny version of Al Sharpton? Bring back the fat version. But nonetheless, skinny version of Al is up here shocking and startling that, are you kidding me? This man right here, once again, the man who's rich off of getting on TV talking about racism all the time, is saying it's not a shock to me, but it's startling. Now, what's startling is how you can make all of this money pushing race narratives constantly. This is your business, Al. You would be out of business if you didn't get on this network and say what you're saying. If you told the truth about what really went down in this case, you're out of business. So y'all got a concoction, racism and narratives like this. And just so happened, there's a dual benefit to it. You guys make your money off of pushing race and being a race baiter. And these white liberals who own these networks and stuff like that get a chance to use you guys to do it, to divide the country and target white conservatives and even some black conservatives. You see how it works? It's a shared relationship. But I do think they're getting prostituted a little more than the folks who's paying them to prostitute themselves. So there we go, Al Sharpton, throwing that garbage out there. Like I expected anything else to come out of Al Sharpton.
Apparently you just have to go out and murder people who you disagree with.
And that is something that honestly, I do not understand why so many white people can't see that. It's like they're telling on themselves, right? It's the whole point here is that, and this is where, I'm going to bring up, I think there's a theory about it that asks you to critically think about how systems work in this country, right? Like there is a pall of permissiveness towards white violence.
So now we bring out Professor Klump. And slash Mr. Heat with the big afro, because he wants to disguise all of that Ivy League-ism that's in him by saying, well, let me go ahead and put a big old gray afro on my head to make y'all understand that I'm still down with the struggle and I'm a brother. I don't detect a lot of brother-ism in him. I just don't. I don't protect a lot of really knowing what's going on in the black community coming out of this dude. But nonetheless, he's up there talking about he don't understand. Now his job is to guilt all of the white folks who's looking at this verdict like, yeah, I mean, it was a clear-cut case. That dude was trying to save his own life. Oh, I'm not supposed to see the evidence? I'm not supposed to use my common sense? So you're going to downplay my rationale and my understanding of the law by saying, I don't see why white people can't see this. See, they're covering all their tracks. They're bringing in the history of racism. They're bringing in the future of racism. And now here he is. He's attacking folks' moral character and stuff. Because if you ain't mad over this, then you are part of the problem. Interesting tactic. And of course, we about to wrap this part up because we got a part 3 coming up, y'all. But let's finish part 2 real quick. Here we go.
And black people, regardless of the victim of any one instance of white violence, black people know that overall, white people armed with guns patrolling the streets being allowed to shoot whoever they want to.
Okay, so y'all hear that? Here is the black version of Santa Claus slash Mr. Heat slash Professor Klump saying that white people patrolling the streets have permission to shoot anybody they want to. Where is this happening? I'm just wondering. See, this is one of those things that if you're emotional, you don't stop for 1 second to say, am I seeing this play out in real life? When is the last large group of white people that I saw showing up with AR-15s and just starting to shoot people? Besides when the Ku Klux Klan that were Democrats used to do it. Yeah. Where's this happening at? All of this fear and, I fear I'm riding around now and at any moment white folks could jump out the car and shoot me as a black man for no reason and all of this stuff. Why do you think they're pushing these narratives? And why do you think that there are so many people that is mad over this case without stopping to say, what that man just said makes absolutely no sense? I don't see these conservative white men just for no reason in large groups going around shooting black folks in the neighborhoods. I don't see that. But yet they're trying to make me think that. They're trying to put me in the matrix. They're trying to make me create a world in my head that's not existing in reality. Thus, all of those clips where they said, imagine if, and that's what it comes down. So I'll go ahead and title this part 2 as Imagine If. See, that gets you all in your feelings and your creative thinking. Imagine if. I don't want you to know the facts, the details and stuff, but I want you to imagine. Go with me to a place. It's dirty because they're using this against minorities. They're using this tactic against white, kind-hearted liberals, and they're using it to compromise your rationale, common sense, and divide the country. And I'm here to expose it, so check it out. Dealing with that race-baiting bunch. And to see it, you got to click on part 3. God bless you. See you next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. Now, God bless y'all. Don't forget to hit that like button, share my videos. Also, don't forget to donate if you like Kevin's Corner. There are links in the bottom of this video. Check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like the products, put Kevin in the promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. And what else? Oh, find me on Rumble in the Jungle. All right, God bless you all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.